smallmouth, largemouth, spotted, or Alabama. Let's talk bass. Welcome to the Bass Hole Podcast, the show where we talk bass fishing without the filters, the fluff, or the tournament politics. Hey there, this is Bob with Bob's Bassin' and Stuff. And guys, it's time to settle the debate once and for all. Which bass is best? The bronzeback smallmouth, the aggressive spotted bass, or the big daddy, the largemouth? Drop a comment right now before we even get started and let me know which bass is your favorite. Today, we're comparing all three species, where they live, what they eat, how they feed, how they spawn, and what makes each one special. And by the end, I'm crowning my champion for best bass. First of all, let's talk looks. While they all three are in the bass family, they are built quite differently. The smallmouth bass is the bronze brawler. Brown, bronze, sometimes even gold, depending on the water clarity. They have vertical bars on their sides and orange and sometimes red eyes that make them look permanently angry. And unlike the largemouth, the smallmouth's jawline doesn't extend past the eye. Now the largemouth. This fish looks like it was designed by a bodybuilder. Huge bucket mouth, massive head, thick body, and a jaw that extends way past the eye. That giant mouth is why largemouth can eat ridiculously large prey. And then there's the spotted bass, basically the middle child in the bass family. It looks like a largemouth at first glance, but it's usually dimmer, has a rough patch on its tongue, sharper teeth, and rows of dark spots below the lateral line. A lot of anglers, including me, confuse spotted bass and largemouth until you really compare them side by side. Now, where do they live? Smallmouth love clean, clear water. Rock, gravel, current, points, shoals, and bluff walls. If it looks like trout water, smallmouth probably love it. They're structure-oriented and prefer cooler water than largemouth. Now, largemouth are ambush predators, so they prefer grass, lily pads, brush, wood, and docks. If there's shallow cover, a largemouth probably lives there. They love slower water, and dirty water doesn't bother them near as much. Spotted bass kind of split the difference. They like current more than largemouth, but still use deeper structure and brush piles. They're notorious for suspending over deep water and chasing bait around points and humps. Now let's look at feeding behavior. Smallmouth are hunters. They roam, they chase, and when they commit, they usually hit hard. Crayfish, gobies, minnows, they absolutely love feeding around rock. Largemouth are more ambush oriented. They want to hide and explode on their prey. And because of that giant mouth, they can eat huge meals. Bluegill, rats, snakes, maybe even your neighbor's chihuahua if it gets too close. And spotted bass are straight up psychos when the bait gets active. They school heavily, compete aggressively, and they can wear you out when they're grouped up. When it comes to spawning, smallmouth usually spawn deeper than largemouth and in gravel and rock. The males guard beds aggressively and stay close to the structure. Largemouth like protected shallow areas. Pockets, coves, backwaters, and grass flats. They move up early when the water warms and can get surprisingly territorial. Spotted bass usually spawn around harder bottoms or secondary structure, and usually a little deeper than largemouth. They're kind of a blend between the other two species, which kind of describes spotted bass in general. Now let's get to the important stuff, the fight. Pound for pound, the smallmouth bass is the hardest fighting freshwater bass species, period. They pull harder, run farther, and stay angry the entire fight. Largemouth may not pull as hard as smallmouth, but man, they know how to put on a show. Big head shakes, huge jumps, and violent strikes. When a giant largemouth explodes on a frog in 2 feet of water, there's honestly nothing like it. And spotted bass, they're kind of the hybrid athlete of the group. They've got some of the pulling power and aggressiveness of the smallmouth mixed with the aerial chaos of the largemouth. Especially in current, a spotted bass can humble you real quick. So which bass is best? Well, due to my quest for a new personal best, I'm voting largemouth. They grow the biggest, they look the most intimidating, and there's just something legendary about catching a giant largemouth. But honestly, the real answer depends on what you want. If you want the hardest fight pound for pound, it's the smallmouth. If you want non-stop offshore action and aggressive schooling fish, that's a spotted bass. If you want giant fish, explosive topwater bites, and a real chance at a monster, that's a largemouth. At the end of the day, there's no wrong answers. Each species has something that makes it special. And to be honest, if it pulls drag and makes your heart race, it's a good one. If you haven't already, drop that comment and let us know which is your favorite, a smallmouth, a spotted bass, or a largemouth. And if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe to Bob's Bassin' and Stuff. And as always, keep bassin'.
Brought to you by Sweet Creek Ranch Fencing. Contact us for all your agricultural fencing needs.
Thanks for tuning in to the Bass Hole Podcast.